Hi there. My name's Pop, and I'd like to tell you a story. So get comfortable and try to take yourself to a place where you can see in your mind's eye the pictures I'm going to try to paint with my voice. And that way, this will be our story, not my story. This particular story has lots of versions and it goes by lots of different names. I call it the counting contest, and I like to tell it this way. Long, long ago, in a small kingdom in Africa, all the animals lived peacefully and happily under the rule of the leopard king. Now, this leopard king was wise and kind and generous and strong. And he had a daughter named the leopard princess, of course, who was the most graceful and beautiful animal in the entire kingdom. But he had no sons. And this was at a time when it was believed that only a male could rule. And so when the leopard king stepped down, the leopard princess would not be able to replace him. So he needed to choose another animal to be his successor, who would also marry the leopard princess and make her the leopard queen. And he needed to find a way to do it fairly. And so after some thought, he came up with a plan, and he invited all the animals to come to the palace. And after a day of good food and good company and dancing and singing and storytelling, the king called all the animals around him and said, I'm going to choose today the animal that will become king when I step down, and who will also marry the leopard princess, and together they will rule. And the way I'm going to make that choice is we're going to have a contest. And he reached behind his throne and he brought out a long spear. And he said, whichever animal can throw this spear into the air and count to 100 before it hits the ground will be the new king. Well, that sounded like a great deal. Not only would you get to be king and move into the palace, you'd get to marry the leopard princess. So out of the crowd stepped Elephant. And he said, I'm the biggest and I'm the strongest of all the animals. I deserve to be king, and I would love to marry the leopard princess. And so he snatched that spear in his trunk. He spun it around a few times and he flung it high, high, high into the air, so high that it almost disappeared. And then he started to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oop. Before he got to 25, the spear stuck in the ground in front of him. And the crowd murmured, and Elephant walked away, shaking his head because he knew he had lost. And then Gorilla stepped out of the crowd. He pounded on his chest. He said, well, I'm the strongest. I would make a great king, and I would love to marry the leopard princess. And he snatched that spear and he threw it high, high, high into the air. And he said, I'm throwing it so high, it's never going to come down. And he started to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then before he got to 40, the spear struck the ground in front of him. And now the crowd is starting to murmur and thinking, this contest may be too difficult. It may be too challenging. No one can do this. And maybe the king's going to have to find another way to choose a successor. And animal after animal after animal tried, and animal after animal after animal failed. And soon the crowd was convinced that this wasn't going to work. And then out of the crowd stepped Monkey. And Monkey said, let me try. And the crowd laughed. They said, Monkey, look at your scrawny little arms. You can't throw that spear. You probably can't even pick it up. And Monkey said, I've got as much right to try this as anybody else does. And the leopard king nodded. And so Monkey took that spear and he wound up and he threw it as high as he could. And he said 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And then he caught the spear before it hit the ground. And he smiled. He turned to the crowd and bowed. And then he turned to the leopard king and said, I have counted to 100 and I have caught the spear before it caught the ground. So am I your new king? And the king said, well, yes, of course you are. I didn't say how you had to count to 100. You have done so. So you will be the new king, and you will get to marry the leopard princess. And the leopard princess gave a big smile and came over and gave Monkey a big hug. And a week later, they were married. And soon the king stepped down. And King Monkey and the leopard queen, they ruled wisely and well for years to come. And Monkey had proven, once again, what some of us already know, that many times being smart and wise and clever is better than being strong. And don't you ever forget it.